In this video, I'm going to show you the best 360Hz gaming monitor you can get at every price range. No matter your budget, I will help you find the best pick for your needs. Let's go. First, we are going to take a look at the best options in the under $300 range. First, we have the Alienware AW2524HF. This monitor is an absolute beast for competitive gaming, combining that buttery smooth 360Hz refresh rate with a fast IPS panel that delivers surprisingly vibrant colors for this speed. The stand is also top-notch with full adjustability, something you do not always get at this price, and its 0.5 millisecond response time feels incredibly sharp in fast-paced shooters compared to some slower panels. However, you are still looking at a 1080p resolution display, and while the motion is crystal clear, its peak brightness is not going to blow you away in a brightly lit room. Next, we have the ASUS ROG Strix XG259CNS, which brings its own special tricks to the 360Hz party. While it also uses a fast IPS panel like the Alienware for great motion and color, its killer feature is the ASUS Extreme Low Motion Blur Sync technology. This lets you get that strobing black frame insertion for maximum motion clarity without having to sacrifice adaptive sync, giving you an edge in visual sharpness that even the Alienware can struggle to match without tearing. The trade-off is that activating this feature does noticeably lower the screen's brightness, and its stand, while decent, does not feel quite as premium or offer the same range of motion as the one on the Alienware. Finally, we have the Pixio PX259 Prime S, and this is all about getting you into that exclusive 360Hz club for the lowest possible price. It delivers the same core experience with a 24.5-inch 1080p fast IPS display, meaning you are not sacrificing raw speed for your money. For gaming, the performance feels right up there with the more expensive ASUS and Alienware models, and its color reproduction is surprisingly solid right out of the box. Where you feel the savings is in the build quality and the stand, which has very limited tilt-only adjustment and feels significantly more plastic than the others, so you might want to budget for a Visa mount. Next, we're going to take a look at the best options in the $300 to $400 range. First, we have the ASUS ROG Strix XG259QNG, and its motion clarity at 360Hz is absolutely elite on this 25-inch screen, making it a fantastic choice for competitive gaming where seeing every single detail in motion is critical. The fast IPS panel gives it some really impressive colors that feel more vibrant than the Alienware, and the backlight strobing technology does a great job of keeping everything clear. You are still limited to a 1080p resolution, however, and you need to be careful with the overdrive settings because pushing them to the maximum can create some distracting trails behind moving objects. Next, we have the Alienware AW2724HF, which takes that same super smooth 360Hz experience and puts it on a larger 27-inch display, which feels way more immersive for all kinds of games. The pixel response time on this monitor feels incredibly fast, arguably a tiny bit quicker than the ASUS, and the overall design and build quality with its premium stand feels much more solid than the other two. The trade-off for that big screen is that the 1080p resolution looks noticeably less sharp, and its colors, while good, seem a little muted when you put it side by side with the ASUS. Next, we're going to take a look at the best options in the $400 to $600 range. First, we have the Alienware AW2724HF. This monitor is absolutely stunning, combining a buttery smooth 360Hz refresh rate with a 1440p quantum dot OLED panel for some of the best colors and deepest blacks I've ever seen. The motion clarity is on another level thanks to the near instant response time, making tracking targets feel almost effortless compared to a standard display. The only real issue is that finding it in this price range is a huge challenge, and you are stepping into the world of potential OLED burn-in, even with Alienware's warranty. Next, we have the Alienware AW2524HF. This thing is a speed demon, and it actually blows past the 360Hz target to a massive 500Hz native refresh rate, which is just wild to experience firsthand. It uses a 25-inch fast IPS panel at 1000p resolution, so while it doesn't have the wow factor of the OLED, its motion handle incredibly clean fraction. For me, this is the go-to for someone who only cares about competitive performance, but be aware that the 1000 dated and less sharp than the 1400 on the AW2705DF. Finally, we have the CR270F. This monitor is all about getting you that high refresh rate spec for the absolute lowest price possible, promising 360 Hz on the box. In practice, the smoothness is noticeable, but the 1080p resolution looked really stretched and a bit blurry to me on its larger 27-inch screen, creating a much lower pixel density than the other two. It's a way to enter the high refresh rate world on a super tight budget, but you are definitely sacrificing a lot in build quality, color vibrancy, and motion clarity compared to what you get from Alienware. Next, we're going to take a look at the best options in the $600 to $900 range. First, we have the ASUS ROG Swift OLED PG27AQDP, and this one is a bit of a showstopper, as it's actually a 480 Hz monitor, taking that buttery smooth motion to a stunning 1440p quantum dot OLED panel with unbelievable colors and almost 0 pixel response time. Unlike the other monitors we are looking at today, you get the absolute best of both worlds here. The visual fidelity of an OLED screen and a refresh rate even higher than our 360 Hz target, which makes for an incredibly responsive and beautiful gaming experience. The trade-off for this cutting-edge tech is that you have to be mindful of potential screen burn-in from static elements on your screen, and its premium A-list features will command a price that sits at the very top of our budget, assuming you can even find one. Next, we have the LG UltraGear 25GR75FG, and this model brings us right to our 360 Hz target with a really nice 1080p in-plane switching panel, which gives you surprisingly good color and viewing angles for a monitor this fast. It's equipped with native NVIDIA G-Sync and has exceptionally low input lag, which means that when you're pushing 360 frames per second, the on-screen action is perfectly smooth and completely free of any screen tearing. The main compromise here is that you're getting a 1080p resolution, which is not as sharp as the ASUS for general productivity, and its in-plane switching panel simply cannot produce the same deep black levels and intense contrast that you get from an OLED display. Finally, we have the BenQ Zowie XL2566K, a legendary monitor in the esports world, and its 360 Hz refresh rate is combined with a lightning-fast twisted pneumatic panel and BenQ's Diac Plus technology to deliver some of the best motion clarity you can buy. When I compare it to the others, the purpose of the Zowie becomes extremely clear. It throws out the vibrant colors of the LG and the perfect contrast of the ASUS in favor of the absolute sharpest moving image possible, making tracking enemies in-game feel incredibly precise. However, that twisted pneumatic panel is its biggest weakness for anything outside of gaming, as the colors look noticeably washed out and the viewing angles are poor, making it a specialized tool built for one thing: competitive performance. Next, we are going to take a look at the best options in the $900 plus range. First, we have the Sony InZone M10S. I've found this monitor is a fantastic choice if you split your time between a high-end personal computer and a PlayStation 5, as the 360 Hz refresh rate is buttery smooth on PC, while its special console features really make your games pop. The full high-definition in-plane switching panel delivers some really nice colors that are more vibrant than the BenQ, but at this premium price, sticking to a 1920 by 1080 resolution feels like a tough sell when you see what the Samsung offers. While it feels incredibly responsive for a screen like this, the motion clarity just is not on the same level as the specialized Zowie, so hardcore competitive players might notice a little more blur. Next, we have the BenQ Zowie XL2586X. This thing is an absolute monster for competitive gaming, pushing a staggering 540 Hz refresh rate with BenQ's Diac 2 technology that practically eliminates motion blur like nothing else I have ever seen. You have to accept the trade-off of its fast twisted pneumatic panel, which means the colors look quite dull and washed out compared to the incredible vibrancy of the Samsung OLED. Honestly, this is a purpose-built tool for esports athletes. If your only goal is to gain a competitive edge in first-person shooters, this is the sharpest scalpel in the drawer, but it makes for a poor experience in cinematic games. Finally, we have the Samsung G60 SD. This monitor feels like the future, combining that crisp 360 Hz refresh rate with a stunning quantum dot OLED panel for perfect blacks and response times that feel instantaneous. The jump to a 2560 by 1440 resolution provides a huge leap in image sharpness over both the Sony and the BenQ, making every game look breathtakingly detailed. You do have to baby this monitor a bit, as the risk of permanent screen burn-in from static game interfaces is very real, but if you want the absolute best all-around visual quality and motion performance in one package, this is it. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you found this video to be helpful, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this in the future.